5/8/2020. The time is 10:54 Pacific Standard Time. Now, it's a Friday. I have a Dow Jones with the worst job reports. We all expected it. That doesn't matter. What matters is it gaps up, we run up, and we put the highs in again. And that's at 24,265. Now, if you remember correctly, when we called the top, it's right here. And if you go back to the videos here on the channel, the video that you're currently watching, you take a look at where we had called the top reversal on the Dow. It's right there. So, what we want to look at now, if you're really serious about what you're doing and what you would like to be as a retail trader, that is, or a market maker. Got to ask yourself what kind of changes you want to make. So here's the big super pop. We got the numbers. We have lots of states now that are going to go ahead and let people go back to work. I will just tell the people that I care about, and anybody watching one of our live market videos in our live trading rooms or whatever the case is that you still have to remember one thing. Love yourself enough to be aware of what your surroundings and circumstances are. That's all I'm going to ask from you. So I'll be like your big brother, is that be careful when you're out and about. Don't live in fear. Just be careful and do the right thing, and you'll be okay. So, once again, that nasty virus has killed many people. And so we'll go ahead and get off of that subject. I've said what I've had to say. So, get back to living like you were and do the things that you can do without putting yourself in an infectious, harmful way until there's a vaccine for this thing. Anyway, let's get back to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones gaps up. We make the highs. We're up here. One of the things that I will say is that what the stimulus is that we've had is there going to be a lot of controversies moving forward. And like I said, during through these trend channels, all of them, since the capitulation, 2,000 point drops, I have it all. I've lived it all. You can go back and watch the live videos when we were living it, and you can live it too. That's what I would do. That is real. So, let's talk about, has the Dow gotten too far, too fast for itself? It has been stimulated, that's for sure. And it has. And we're at much lower highs where other key reversals were. And this is factual. One of the things that we want to be very mindful is the mathematical lower highs. So what does that really mean over a period of time? It means that within the bear trend structure that started to where we're currently at has a different beta than where those big fear levels were. Now, does the market return to what kind of ranges, and then how people are going to respond to the world? That will be shown to us mathematically. There is going to be no other way to know what this Dow is going to do other than that. Believe me, an opinion, a guessing game, a speculation game, a what-if game, that's not going to get you nowhere, because it won't. All it will do is keep that repetitive, stinking thinking cycle about what markets may or may not do. And we want to eliminate that. We can only do it through mathematics. Big gap up, We're identifying the tops, we're identifying the Dow 30, and we're identifying the algorithms being used by machines in these markets. And it's the very same machines that drove it to the top, big reversals with 11,000 point drop because we had an event such as this virus. It can be any kind of an event that is going to start it again, and it will. And I will just tell everyone now at this current date on 5/8 and over the weekend, I'll be doing a lot of updates for a lot of our other traders and whatnot. There's been a request to do some podcasting about the actual economy and the numbers and the earnings cycle and these kinds of things. That's all peanut butter stuff for the retail investors. We're market makers. I mean, we're experts in many different things, don't get me wrong, in many different subjects when it comes to markets. No doubt about it. That's why we have the history to prove it. And we do, just like you're watching the videos right now. So let's keep it all real. Let's keep it real on how we can walk through markets together, you and I. And how do we do that though? We have to have a system, and we have to have something very strong about that system. The mathematics is going to do exactly that, and it will remove the emotion. So when making markets and knowing what indexes are doing, knowing where we're at in the world, knowing what the uptrend cycle is in the Dow at the current level, and what does the volume really look like and the commitment, so that a lot of people look at this Dow index, and the only reason why we update people with it is because it is the 30 stocks that are in there, and it has a little bit of a sentiment to it. And it always has, and that's why we let people know that, because we have lots of different clients that want to know, oh, I love the Dow, what's it doing, da, da, da. So, update moving forward over the weekend. And what the jobless numbers were today were very horrible. We knew all the economic data was going to be horrible, but we know how they will pump it up. They always do in every bear market, just like we talked about from the very beginning to the very current of now, right now. So when we take a look at where we're going to be going, where that trend is going to be going, and what kind of an event could trigger another major sell-off in the Dow, and do you want to have to go through that emotion again? I would probably think not. And if you don't want to go through that emotion again, then why don't you contact us? 702-685-0772. There it is. We will be updating more on the Dow. We still have 2 hours to the closing bell. So this could be part one. The Dow, 2 hours to the closing bell. The Dow, the opening bell gap with the algorithms. The worst jobless numbers, which I believe is much higher than what was reported. Oh yeah, the math that I did on the new monthly jobs report, it was at 3.5% with Trump. They talk about 14.787%. Hey, it's a lot higher than that. Don't be fooled. So, once again, the sentiment, the algos, the light volume, where are we going to move forward? I know. The upside is still here. However, it's going to take a lot of successful events to get this Dow and all of these exchanges and these markets back to where they were before the COVID ever hit. Is it possible? It's going to take time, though. That's something people hate. They don't like waiting. They don't like that time factor and whatnot. So, time is going to tell it. Mathematics is going to tell everything more about the Dow, the events that could happen, and what that outcome could spark again in the volatility. Volatility remains low. Over the weekend, we're going to be updating the fear indicators and what that looks like and what parameters those are going to be in with the way that these markets are going to trade and whatnot. So right now, the Dow is still up considerably, has a nice range. It's up 288 points at the moment, was up a lot higher. And all the good news have been the opening bell gaps. And we already knew that that was going to happen. We knew that that was going to happen. And the thing about it is, once those opening bell gaps and these things start to play out, it's a Friday and we're going into the weekend. Las Vegas is going to be opening up, I heard on the news now, and a lot of other states. You can go in and get haircuts, you can go into the restaurant now, you can do all kinds of things in some of them. And so, as we move forward together in the Dow, we're going to find out where the fear indicators will be. We're going to find out an event. If an event happens, is there going to be another big super drop? New infections start to go higher. Who knows what the headline event would be? It's going to be the response, is what we're going to be looking at moving forward. And the volatility could return in a real big way. Right now, the volatility is lower than it was because of the volume right now. And the algos are to the upside as we speak. So we're going to keep updating this Dow and the virus as we move forward and whatnot, and where the major resistance levels are going to be. So I know that we wanted to let you know when there was 2 hours left of the Dow left before the close, what your gap was, what your highs are here, and what we'll be doing later. Then there'll be a second update for those people who are waiting for that, and we'll go ahead and give that to them. Dow Jones, 3 minute chart, opening bell gap, 5/8/2020. The viruses are spreading still. Be careful.